My name is Doris, and I live in Ceres, California. It's a little community of 40,000 people, and I really like living there, and I like the schools. And I used to work at Spansion, and I worked there 22 and a half years. I worked in the process environment where I processed wafers for R&D. So they told us we would have to take between 5 and 10%, and that consists of working only 11 hours a day instead of 12, so which I had to take an hour lunch, and I paid for it out of my pay, and 1 day off of my 4-day work week. That didn't bother me. It was okay because I would have my job still and I would have my benefits. So that started in October that they told us that, and this would take effect in January when we came back. But the managers, all exempts, had to take a cut and pay between 5 and 10%, and that was immediately in October. Then we had a meeting before we went on Christmas break, and we were told by our manager that what was going to happen, we were going to take all this, time, just going over what we knew already, what was going to go on. And he just wanted to reinforce it and let us know, because he was the manager, what was going to happen. And we were like, okay, it was okay, it was cool that, he still was trying to be involved with us, So we were all for it. We were going to go on 2 weeks off, and we were going to, have to use our vacation if we needed to go full pay. January 2nd, I get called from my aunt saying, hey, my boss just told me, we're gonna go on work furlough, which we're gonna have a whole month off. And it was like, oh, well, I'm thinking in my head while I'm having dinner, well, it's probably only her because she works for a different group. And then lo and behold, later on that night, my boss calls and tells me, hey, you're gonna have a whole month off. And, at her level, which is, I guess it would be supervisor, but they call them facilitators, or they called them, managers. They weren't told of anything what was going to be happening. So manager, her boss and up, knew everything that was going to be happening. And I don't even think he knew about when we got laid off. So he was also in the dark about that. Everything was like, okay, I had worked. I got a check, because I had worked the week, plus I had holiday pay. And it was okay because I go, oh, well, I'll just pay whatever bills I need. I'm going to go back to work, and, I'm going to get unemployment. I could pay the rest of my bills. And so, it was kind of tight. And, I had to borrow money from somebody, and, because I was running out of money, The week before February 2nd, I get called and say, hey, we're not going back to work. Not all of us, only certain people are going back to work. And which was only 25% of the people were going back to work. And they said, you're going to go back to work, but not until February 8th, 9th, and 10th. And I was like, okay, cool, And there was other people going back to work. And the week after February 9th and 10th, some other people are going to go back to work. So it was like, okay, we're going to all take turns, That's cool. I don't care, as long as I keep my benefits, I'm cool with that. Kind of happy because, okay, the job is still there, not knowing that they had other motives, like, okay, yeah, I'm thinking all this, it's still cool with me. I'm happy still, even though it's not a lot of money, but it's still there. We were told, we were all these rumors. So, I was like waiting for them to send me emails saying, okay, you're going to come back to work this week. And then we were, that week, that other people went to work. That Saturday, I was in San Jose for a birthday party for my granddaughter. And I was told during the day, hey, you should check your checkings account because you got money in your checkings account. So I was like, no, it's not me. I didn't get nothing. No, why would they, I'm thinking in my head, hey, I'm not getting laid off. It's other people getting laid off. I'm not. So finally I checked my checkings account, and sure enough, I had some money in there. And it was from Spansion. And I'm like, okay, why do I have money from Spansion? So I called my aunt back up, and I said, hey, you know what? I think we got laid off, and they're not going to tell us. And then so that Monday, on the 23rd, people started arriving at work, and I didn't go because I wasn't scheduled. And then I even called my boss up and I said, hey, did we get laid off? What's up with this? Why do we have money? She goes, I don't even know what you're talking about. She goes, what are you talking about? And because she was shopping for her daughter to go to a birthday party. And then when she checked, I guess when she checked her account, you know, she had money in there too, but she really never told me that she did. But that Monday we found out, because everybody else that had went to work got laid off, and they had called other people up, which told me, because you know, word gets around really fast, especially when you're like really tight with everybody, and you're talking to everybody's your friend, and there's no secrets. There was no secrets there at work, because everybody would talk about everything to each other. So it was like a real family, you know, we all talk. 3 days later, I get a call from one of the managers say, oh, I don't know if you know this, but you got laid off. And it was like, okay, yeah, I kind of figured that out, you know. 22 and a half years. You know, it was so unprofessional. There was like, I don't care, let's just kick the dog out and go leave him out in the field. Let's see what he could do for himself. I have 5 kids. And I have 3 grandchildren. Another one is on the way, because life is hard now and it's expensive, and you know, some people said it was a job, but for me it was a career, because I really liked it. And I did go to school, you know, AMD put me through school, and you know, I can appreciate that, what AMD did for me. My plans now are to go to school. I want to try a new industry. I want to get into the medical field. I want to get into helping, maybe not only the medical field, maybe into the school district, maybe to help kids. Oh, if I could say one thing to John Kipsert, the one thing I want to tell him is that you only didn't hurt me, you hurt my family, you hurt a lot of people, and you know, I don't know if you do have a soul or a heart, but if you do, you probably threw it away because of what you did to us. Nobody with the soul or heart could ever do this to another human being.